Hi, this is Joshua Schaus for Professor Sears' class. I'm going to do an informative speech on what's currently going on in the Syrian civil war, kind of a touchy subject, what with ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, whatever it is you choose to call them, and it really speaks to the current situation that we haven't actually even settled on a name yet for what we're going to call them. No one wants to call them ISIS, primarily because, and this is a great way to get started, refer to themselves as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Well, they're not a state, and according to much of the Islamic community, they are no longer even really considered truly Islamic. And what that comes down to is a fatwa. And I'd like to work a little bit backwards on this, so we'll start there. With a fatwa, what that means is a judgment. A judgment made within the confines of the holy text by those who are equipped with the knowledge and the training needed to make that type of a judgment. And the reason I wanted to spell that out was that there's a common misconception going around that a fatwa is a death sentence. That's not always true. And it's really good to squash that, because you can't have people going around saying that they've issued a fatwa on this or that and have other people think it's a death sentence. What this does mean is that the Islamic community has made a judgment that they no longer recognize these monsters running around the Middle East as part of their religion. They have the training, they have the knowledge and the texts needed to explain exactly why that is, so they've gone ahead and they've done it. So you don't know what to call these guys. And one of the biggest things is that this relays the chaos and the uncertainty and the overall ridiculous nature of the Syrian civil war. You have multiple different factions all fighting together. The US is involved, the French are involved, the Russians are involved. You have the Free Syrian Army. You have Daesh or ISIS or whatever you'd like to call them. You have the Syrian government for whatever they're worth at this time, and you have the Kurds. And I'm just issuing the largest, best-known powers. I mean, there's probably more going on there right now. And where this all gets started is really what some are considering the formation of a new Cold War between the U.S. and Russia. Assad is backed by Russia. And that's really the pinnacle of all of this. During the Arab Spring, many new democratic uprisings began across the Arab world, or at least that's how people like to display it. But in reality, when we look at it, look at Mohamed Morsi, I'd have a lot of trouble calling that a democratic uprising. Mohamed Morsi was pushed out from power by his own military and put on trial, originally given 20 years, then later the death penalty for his actions. And the U.S. had their hands in that as well. There was a certain factual base say that the U.S. was in league with Mohamed Morsi, even to the point where I can tell you that we gave him jet fighters. Even Jon Stewart referenced it on his show, The Daily Show. Not that I'm using that as a source, but he did. So this is rather troubling. And now, throughout the midst of all this chaos, as The Atlantic writes in a fairly recent article by David Ignatius, if you'd like to look it up, How is ISIS Spreading? They discuss that in these power vacuums, when you have this chaos, when you have regimes tumbling, militants have a very easy time moving around. They have an easy time getting resources. When you have the U.S. and Russia and other world powers getting involved, they often have ways of getting their hands on weapons. And I reference the rise of the Taliban, a very unfortunate chain of events that involved the United States choosing to arm militants to push back against the Soviet Union and Afghanistan. So it's a little bit of history repeating itself. And what ended up happening is the BBC references ISIS now. They were their words, calling them ISIS, as the greatest jihadist threat we're currently dealing with. And they depict their spread all the way from Afghanistan to Nigeria. That's a very large reach, with attacks going as far as not just Ankara in Turkey, but also Paris and France. And they even have sympathizers in the U.S., one of which have attacked us in the United States, some that have moved there, with a massive social media presence. So these guys really have gotten out of control, and it's time for people to take a step back and try to get that figured out. And that's what my persuasive end course project's going to be. But for now, I'm just trying to stick to the bare bones facts. No subjective opinions, no theories, nothing like that. Just exactly what it is that's going on. And that's really an overview. We have so many different factions in the Syrian civil war, and we have regimes tumbling all around the region. You have Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. You have Mohamed Morsi rising and falling all in one big swoop in Egypt. And you have all of these regime changes across the Arab world happening at one time. And it's become somewhat of a recipe for disaster, because a couple of the regions have been sustained chaos for a while now. And the biggest vacuum in the Atlantic, that article, they were discussing vacuums, is definitely Iraq. Ever since the fall of Saddam, Saddam kept that region in power with an iron fist for so long. Once he fell, it kind of became anarchy for a while in Iraq, which became a massive breeding ground for terrorism, mostly because some of his intelligence operatives ended up working with these guys, these nut jobs, because they were around since 1999 in Iraq and Syria, which is what their name is supposed to mean, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And we look at a recent article from the week, very recent. They want to discuss what it is exactly that these guys would want. And that's one last thing I want to touch on, because if we're going to figure out how we're going to deal with these people, we have to understand what it is exactly that they're looking for. And that is to rebuild the Islamic Caliphate, which references back to the Ottoman Empire. Now, the Ottoman Empire, which really didn't stand that long ago in world history, was magnificent in size. They were incredibly powerful. One of the greatest world powers of the time. The United States stepped to them back in the Barbary War. The Barbary War is a little old, but not that old when you consider geopolitics, a couple hundred years. The Ottoman Empire, in these guys' minds, was one of the greatest achievements in a theocratic government. In other words, a government built on religious law. That's what they're looking to do. And the fact is, a lot of secular governments keep rising up in the region. A lot of minorities in the region, both ethnic and religious minorities, wouldn't exactly mind sustaining a secular government. So what these guys have done is they have resorted to fear, through rape, murder, slavery, trying to scare people back into an old way of doing things. And if we cannot work together to sustain secular leaders who have the authority and the charisma to unite people in that region, it's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. Not for a long period of time. But I'll get into more of that on my persuasive speech. Thank you.